Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Man, oh man, it is Packers Bears week, the third edition here in 2025/2026, as we've got an awesome playoff matchup coming up this week in the Windy City as the Packers travel down to Chicago Saturday night to try to beat the Bears on their home field, a much healthier Chicago Bears team than a banged up Green Bay Packers team. But nonetheless, tempers are flaring a little bit. It's exciting to kind of watch this new rekindling, if you will, of the Packers Bears rivalry. Once again, Ben Johnson has opened that mouth. His quirky little awkward ass has opened that mouth. We're going to talk about his recent comments that were made that many people, including myself, believe were shots at Matt LaFleur. So we'll dive into all that. We'll also talk about the last two matchups, what happened in those games, how did everything unfold, and kind of look at the rivalry as a whole. Before we get into it, if you would, do that YouTube stuff, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning in to PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you look for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you know when we go live. Probably going live again here in a couple of hours when the first injury report drops. Any news that comes out of any kind of press conferences, anything like that, they're in Green Bay and Chicago as well. Appreciate everybody jumping in there. I see the chat's already on fire. Let's dive into it. This latest installment of Ben Johnson is talking out his rear end again. So just put a little Patreon, article together, I guess you could say. You guys can check it over at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. It's the best way to support what we do here at PTA and also keep you up to date with any content we got going out. Let's start off. Let's just go back to the beginning, all right? When Ben Johnson was hired as the Chicago Bears head coach, right? He had a really, really awkward press conference right before this comment. Obviously, he made a statement. He said that just completely build up, Dan Campbell. We talked about Dan Campbell and Kevin O'Connell being great coaches. And then right after that, this is what he had to say about Matt LaFleur.
And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
The awkwardness there, right? It was so awkward. You could tell that the media that was in that room was like, are you going to say anything else? This is you guys know what I'm talking about. Every group of friends has that one dude that just says stuff right in the middle. Everybody's kind of cutting up, having a good time. It's a great evening, blah, blah, blah. You may be out having drinks. You may be hanging out for New Year's, something like that. Someone makes an awkward comment that he thinks is funny. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room. And everybody just kind of goes, you can feel your face getting red for him, right? That's exactly what that moment was. And then a little later, right, in the year, as we started off the season, the Bears come out kind of struggling, right? The offense was really, really sputtering. And Ben Johnson had a little exchange with a press conference or a media member at a press conference. This is what was said there.
That's what he does. How demoralizing is this loss, considering you were coming
How demoralizing is this loss?
back? You left for Chicago. I mean,
It's
they
not
even did this
demoralizing
stuff.
at all. It's not demoralizing at all. We got to play better. Simple as that.
All right, so just kind of kept it simple, right? It's not demoralizing at all, right? Just like completely shunned it. Now, if we go back to the NFL draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Matt LaFleur had an opportunity to fire back at Ben Johnson. I love this response from Coach LaFleur. This was on the McAfee show, so the audio is courtesy of them. So I'm just going to kind of throw a screen grab up here.
He's a grown-ass man now. And
that's not the one. Screen grab here of Matt LaFleur. All right. So here is what Matt LaFleur had to say at the NFL draft when he was asked about Ben Johnson. I absolutely love this response right here.
yeah, we got a great division. You can't discredit what the teams have done. And I think
So giving a little bit of credit to the rest of the division, right?
Chicago's done a nice job of adding to their roster, and you get a good football coach, as he said himself, in Ben Johnson.
Whoa.
So But no, I do respect Ben. You can't. He's one of the best play callers in the game.
I like shit talking there. I like that rivalry still exists.
All right, so there you go. His response obviously was, "Yeah, man, they got a great head coach. You don't believe it? Just go ask him." Right? I mean, he said it himself. Reminded me of the old Jerry Kramer and Alex Karras. If you guys know, way back in the day, that old rivalry there between the Packers and the Lions back then. But nonetheless, you get a little bit further into the season now. Let's fast forward back into the season. Here was Ben Johnson getting snippy with a sideline reporter. Really, what bothered me about this interview, and it's only 6 seconds of the clip, it started off awkward, and then you see Ben Johnson kind of notice how he leans in towards her and tries to bully her here, right? And this is just it's really telling of the person that Ben Johnson is, in my opinion. Notice how, first of all, in the first part of the interview, she's kind of leaned in, smiling, and by the end of it, she's going, "Okay, this is awkward," right? And here was his response. She asked, about what you had to do to get the offense going, right, coming out of halftime.
In the second half.
You need to change what you're doing.
Now watch right here.
I don't know. You think so? We're going to be just fine.
Thank you.
So you can see how awkward it got. And again, look how he's leaning in toward her. Tried to mean mug her, right? And stared her down as they walked off. And she's just like, "Get me the hell away from this weirdo," right? Again, there's just something about Ben Johnson that just screams little man syndrome, right? It's obvious Matt LaFleur is pretty comfortable in his own skin, right? He gets made fun of all the time because he's too soft. You got Ben Johnson out here taking his shirt off in the locker room, trying to act like a tough guy. That whole thing, to me, the media blew that up like it was just something great. And I'm going, when was the last time a great head coach took his shirt off in the locker room and danced around the locker room, flexed around the locker room with the guys? When did that happen? I don't remember Belichick doing it. I don't remember Bill Walsh doing it, right? I'm trying to think of the great head coaches. I don't remember. Jimmy Johnson was animated, but when did he take off his shirt and try to flex, right? He's another great coach. Mike Holmgren, never did anything like that, right? Sean Payton is as animated as anyone, as high-strung as anyone. Couldn't see him doing that, right? It's just really, really weird energy from Ben Johnson. Now, here was the icy handshake at the end of the game. The first matchup between Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson obviously coming into this game saying, "Man, it's been really nice beating Matt LaFleur twice a year," right? Kind of throwing that out there. Here was the icy handshake at midfield. I love how Matt just gave him the old, "Yeah, get the hell out of here, buddy." Didn't even hardly make eye contact. Ben's kind of, yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you handle it. Again, Matt LaFleur, how did he handle the whole process leading up to this? Was, "Yeah, man, they got a great head coach. You don't believe it? Go ask him. He'll tell you how good he is," right? And then you go out there and you kick their ass on the football field, come to midfield for the handshake, as brief as possible, give them the old Olay slap on the back, "Get the hell out of here, kid." There you go. Take that L home with you. Love it. Absolutely love the way Matt LaFleur handled that handshake. Now, let's fast forward to the news of the day, if you will. It kind of broke yesterday. So you guys know this past week, and we covered it pretty extensively, as the Bears were trying to play for the number 2 seed. They're going out there trying to win the ball. They have every reason to try to win that ball game on Sunday, right? If you guys remember. So with him going out there and coaching his team to win that ball game, obviously they end up losing by, 3 points, right? They end up dropping that season finale to the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, were extremely banged up in that game. I think we would all agree. You're talking about a secondary that was completely depleted for the Detroit Lions. So he goes out there. Matt LaFleur sits his starters, right? Matt LaFleur makes a decision. We talked about this leading up, really with 3 weeks left in the season. Like, boys, at some point, we've got to try to get healthy if we lock in a playoff spot. And I got a lot of pushback on this show. And listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not saying I'm right and anybody else is wrong, but I'm looking at it like, what's the bigger goal here? To try to win the North and completely take your roster, deplete your roster going into the playoffs? Or maybe go, you know what? Let's lock in that 7 seed. And let's try to rest some players and try to get healthy for the playoffs. So we have a legit shot to go after the number 1 goal, the ultimate goal every single year when the NFL season kicks off, really when training camp kicks off. And you can say it goes back to free agency and the draft and this is what we had in mind, was getting yourself in the dance and having an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. So he sits his starters. He sits the guys that are banged up to get healthy for the playoffs. We didn't know if we were playing the Bears yet or not, right? So the Bears go out there, and they're trying to beat an absolutely depleted Detroit Lions team, which, By the way, we swept the Lions. The Lions just swept the Bears. And then you've got, us sitting our starters, right? So the Lions go out there, kick their ass, and this is what's on Ben Johnson's mind. Keep in mind, your team is on a 2-game losing streak, playing your starters, right? All year long, as I've shown you in 4, 5, 6 different clips, he's ran his mouth all year long. He's gotten snippy with the press. He got snippy with the sideline reporter, tried to bully her, took a shot at Matt LaFleur before he coached a single game in the NFL as a head coach, and acted like he was the only reason that the Lions were able to beat the Packers last year, which is it's hilarious to me that you were the reason, Ben. You were the secret. You were the magic. You were the reason the Lions dominated the Packers last year, right? But the guy who's still the head coach of the Detroit Lions just kicked your ass twice. I'm sorry, man. The math ain't math in there, right? So he comes off this huge loss, in my opinion, because you're going backwards as the Chicago Bears into the playoffs. You're not creating momentum going into the playoffs. And here you've got the Packers who have tried to get rested up because, again, I think it's still an uphill battle for the Packers to beat the Bears. But you're going in with the best shot you can. You got Josh Jacobs as healthy as he's been all year, right? That's going to be absolutely huge for this Packers offense. So you come off this 2-game losing streak, and this is what's on the head coach's mind. It's not, yeah, man, we just got beat. That's what it is. We got to play better football. We got to go out there and we got to get back to work. We got to get these guys, everybody needs to get ready because really the message should have been, you know what? We can't worry about those 2 losses. The real season begins right now. That should have been the message to your team. This is what he had to say. This is who's on his mind coming out of that game.
We're quickly turning the page here. Everyone's disappointed. I appreciate, like I said, their effort. Some teams, they rest their starters. We don't. We play football, and, and we felt like it was really important that we were playing our best ball here today, and we didn't get that job done.
So, again, let's play it one more time.
Some teams, they rest their starters. We don't.
Some teams rest their starters. We don't. This dude's got a serious crush on Matt LaFleur. That's the only thing I could come up with. Like, from day one, he has done nothing but talked about Matt LaFleur. And then he knows immediately, okay, after they losing that game locks them into actually, if they had won the game, right, it would have locked them into the 2 seed. But you had the Eagles that lost to the Commanders, which locked the Bears into the 2 seed. So now he knows in this presser, we're playing Green Bay. And that's what's on his mind is, well, they didn't even play their starters. Absolutely hilarious, man. So let's talk about the last 2 matchups here. So let's go back to the Packers defeating the Chicago Bears. Keep in mind, this was not a healthy Packers team either. And I want to talk about what the quarterbacks did here, okay? This was not a healthy Packers team. We're coming down a stretch, and we are completely banged up. I know Easton Butler put a tweet out earlier today. Tucker Kraft was tied for 7th in touchdowns for tight ends, 1st in yards yak per catch, I think. No, yards per catch, sorry, with 15.3, 7th for Yak with 344. Bro was going to be an all-pro tight end. You could see the offense was going through Tucker Kraft. And Matt LaFleur spent the entire offseason like, we're going to run this thing through Tucker Kraft, and when people start to hammer down on him, we're going to open things up to the receivers. Christian Watson will be healthy. But obviously, Tucker Kraft goes down with the ACL. Right. So that's one of the reasons why I point this out. This first win over the Chicago Bears this year was without Tucker Kraft. It was without Elton Jenkins, if I remember correctly, right? Or maybe Elton went out in that game. Nonetheless, Packers completely depleted, right? And here is how the game played out. The Packers won 28-21, right? Both teams shut each other out in the first quarter. The second quarter, the Packers scored 14 points to the Bears 3. You came out in the second half, the Bears scored 11 to the Packers 7, and then both teams scored 7 points in the fourth quarter. The Packers get the win. You guys know Keyshawn Nixon, the game-winning interception in the end zone. Even with the Packers so depleted, they led that entire game, if I remember correctly. There wasn't one point where the Bears took the lead. And then right down the stretch, the Bears try to take the lead on the final play of the game. Obviously, Caleb Williams craps the bed, throws the interception in the end zone when he had a wide open DJ Moore underneath. Now, let's talk about the quarterback matchup in that game. Jordan Love, 17-25, 234 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked once for a loss of 14 yards. Caleb Williams, 19 of 35, okay? 186 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 sack, okay? So Jordan Love, again, is always getting compared to Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams is this generational franchise, player and blah, 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 blah. Jordan Love outplayed his ass in that matchup. No two ways about it. Going in there with none of his, like very, very few of his key weapons, right? Like, being without Tucker Kraft, being without your starting center. And then obviously the injuries across the board on defense as well. Now we go to week 16 where the Bears pull out the W in overtime. It took overtime to beat a team in the Green Bay Packers who, in this game alone, if I remember correctly, they ended up taking out Josh Jacobs if he did play in that game. So you're without Josh Jacobs. You're obviously still without Tucker Kraft. You have multiple injuries occur throughout that game, right? You've also got Jordan Love going out in that game where he gets completely speared with the crown of the helmet. And to all the Bears fans that still say that was a legal hit, it's absolutely hilarious to me to say, well, Jordan Love ducked his head. Of course, a player is taught to lower their head when they're about to take contact. That's not the problem. The problem is your defender launched himself with the crown of his helmet, which is a personal foul, which got him fined as well. That was a dirty ass hit on Jordan Love that not only took him out of the game, but kind of forced us to keep him out of the last 2 games of the season just to kind of play it cautious to go into the playoffs. And I will say this about the Packers offensive line. Somebody needs to rise up. I'm not saying you go out there and get a personal foul. Hell, maybe it needs to happen on defense. You're going to allow, and this isn't just me talking. This was hearing Mark Tauscher and other former offensive linemen. Actually, David Bakhtiari on Twitter put a comment about that would never have gone unnoticed by an offensive line that we played on. Now, this is a much younger offensive line than someone like a David Bakhtiari led, and let's say you had, back in the day, Brian Bulaga, veteran on there, right? You name all the greats, right? Especially when Josh Sitton was on the offensive line. Could you imagine Josh Sitton watching Aaron Rodgers get speared with the crown of the helmet? You think that's going to happen? No. Somebody's losing a kneecap. Somebody probably getting an ACL tour on the next play. And I kind of respect the fact that old school linemen look at it that way. So that was a little bit disheartening for me. It was like, man, y'all not going to go out there and retaliate. It's just like baseball. People don't understand the throwing at a batter. The general rule is you throw at our batter, we're going to throw at your best batter. All right, you want to beam one of our guys? Cool. We're going to go after your most valuable commodity, and we're going to try to put one right between the shoulder blades. That's what we're going to do, right? And that's why you get into the bench warnings and obviously guys getting ejected and whatnot. But nonetheless, Malik Willis playing in that game, 9 of 11, 121 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Jordan Love only threw 13 passes in that game, 8 of 13 for 77 yards. You can see the offense kind of open up because they were game planning around stopping Jordan Love, they being the Bears. And then Malik Willis comes in and brings a different set of skills, right? So they had to kind of adjust on the fly and whatnot. Caleb Williams in that game played good. You've got to tip your cap to Caleb. And I want to say this about Caleb. Well, first of all, 19 to 34, 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, didn't take any sacks. I want to say this about Caleb Williams. When we went into the season, I expected Ben Johnson to have some success. He would have been my head coaching hire because of what he's done. He's an offensive-minded coach. You guys know that's very important to me. If I'm building an organization, I'm going offensive-minded coach over defensive every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I've talked about that in the past. We won't go into it too deep. Now, I expected them to be better. I also expected Ben Johnson to be a better leader, right? He's the one who's kind of in the media looking like a whiny ass and taking shots. Notice, too, every time that they lose a couple of football games, that's when he does it, right? He's kind of pouting almost, right? I expected Caleb Williams to be the one doing that this year. I had to tip my cap to Caleb Williams. Chicago Bears fans, if you're watching this later or right now live, I think you guys got one. Now, he's got to fix the accuracy. He does. And he's an electric football player. He's got a bunch of talent, right? But the thing that's impressed me the most about Caleb Williams is his maturity. That dude has matured as the year has gone on. And to me, it seems like Ben Johnson's going in the opposite direction. Really, really strange. I did not have that on my bingo card for sure. And then, of course, I just added in here like the most recent track record between the Packers and the Bears. Going back, let's just go back the last 20 games, right? Let's start in 2016. Packers win 26-10. Next matchup, Packers win 30-27. Next, Packers win 35-14. Packers win 23-16. Packers win 24-23. Now, on December 16, 2018, the Packers lose 24-17. Then you're right back in the dub column the next year in 2019, September 5th, 2019. Packers win 10-3. Packers win 21-13. Packers win 41-25. Packers win 35-16. Packers win 24-14. Packers win 45-30. Packers win 27-10. Packers win 28-19. Packers win 38-20. Packers win 17-9. Packers win 20-19. And then you go to that loss in 2025 last year where Jordan Love didn't play in that game either, right? He played, they pulled him. Christian Watson tears his ACL, injuries pile up, and you can see the coaching staff going, well, crap, we just lost our number one receiver right before the playoffs. Get everybody's ass out of there. So they started pulling starters out. Even with the starters pulled out, the Bears won 24-22 in that game. And then, of course, earlier this year, the 28-21 win where Jordan Love outplays Caleb Williams. And, of course, you've got this last loss, which we talked about there. It took overtime for the Bears to beat an absolutely depleted Packers team without their starting quarterback again. Now, what's the point here? This rivalry is alive and well. It really is. I'm excited about this matchup. But, again, I'm eager to know what everybody's comments are. How do y'all feel about Ben Johnson and the comments he's made? Maybe you're a Packer fan. You go, it don't bother me that much. It doesn't bother me like, how dare he? It bothers me like, where's the backbone of this team, boys? And I feel like when we went into that first matchup against the Bears, there was a couple of players that made comments, right? Like Jordan Love said, no, I ain't thinking about that. I ain't thinking about it. They asked Matt LaFleur, I ain't even thinking about it. Post-game, don't you think post-game, Matt LaFleur, all right, he ran that mouth, and I showed him who was boss. Let me tell y'all what I think now. No, you know what he said? We got to play him in 2 weeks. We'll see him again in 2 weeks. Like, he was excited about the next matchup, right? I just love where the rivalry's at. I think Ben Johnson's quirky. I think that there's a chance that Ben Johnson, it's sometimes, it's equally important as a leader. How do you handle success, but also how do you handle failure, right? Both of those things, as Mike McCarthy used to say when he was in Green Bay, sometimes it's harder to handle success than it is losses, right? Well, how does Ben Johnson react to the losses? We showed you. He got snippy with the media and taking a shot at a female sideline reporter and trying to bully her, right? Taking shots at Matt LaFleur. And then how does he react when they're doing good and they're winning? He's overly emotional, takes his shirt off in the locker room, flexes like a freaking weirdo, runs around the locker room like, ooh, Caleb Williams staring at him. That was kind of awkward. I ain't gonna lie, just a little bit weird vibe in the Bears locker room in that whole situation. And now you got a 2-game losing streak while playing your starters. And how does he respond? He's still got Matt LaFleur in his mind. He's still taking shots at Matt LaFleur. Telling you, man, the Bears may have success from here on out. They may. That's a possibility. But boy, oh boy, the little hiccups in between, mark my words, you're going to see this stuff start to surface. And you're going to see a little bit of locker room problems if Ben Johnson doesn't get the emotions in check. Because, again, I expected that from Caleb Williams, a young football player. I didn't expect it from Ben Johnson. It's kind of the opposite. Caleb has impressed me. So I'm eager to know, how does everybody else feel in the chat? What do you think? I know I didn't just see that comment in there. I ain't even going to mention his name. What absolutely wild, man. All right. Anyway, had nothing to do with the Packers. It was some idiot in here being a racist moron. Freaking 2026, and we still got. It's just wild. Absolutely wild. Anyway, let us know in the comments how you guys think. How do you feel about Ben Johnson's comment? How do you feel about this game? Let me know, man. Are you feeling good about it, Packer fans? Are you feeling, hey, man, it could go either way? I'm in the camp of it could go either way. If this was a healthy Packers roster, I'd be like, oh, yeah, dude. Let's go up there. Let's line them up and let's crack skulls. I feel good about where the Packers are at, right? If you had Tucker Kraft out there, if you had Elton Jenkins, if you had Micah Parsons, right? All these great football players. I would feel a lot better about this situation. But going in so banged up, the one thing the Packers have on their side is the Bears are cocky as all get out. Everything's riding on this game. They've got a ton of pressure on them too, because if they lose this game and they're one and done, it's going to get loud again like it was the first 4 weeks of the season, right? Now, on the Packers side, you've got a group of guys that have looked around. They've watched their buddies. They've watched their friends, their teammates that they shed blood, sweat, and tears with all through training camp and all in the offseason program, and you've seen them go down one by one by one, putting their body on the line and sustaining major injuries, and now they're going to look around and go, you know what? Let's go out there and shock the freaking world. That's what gives me hope about this game, big time. So I'm excited to see how this one goes. Let me know in the comments how you feel. Also, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. I'm sure we'll be live again here in a couple hours when we get injury news and things like that breaking. I'll put another live stream together. So make sure you keep that bell icon clicked. We'll see you guys in a little bit. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
Bye, guys.